You called down the thunder, well now you got it. So run, you cur. Run! Tell all the other curs the law's coming! You tell them I'm coming! And hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Dynasty Defined listeners, we've got a special guest here with us today to talk about his illustrious career with the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Definitely one of the legends of the sport and a room full of wrestling legends. So we've got Johnny Thompson with us. He was a high school state champion in Oklahoma for Putnam City West, a 4-time All-American for the Cowboys, 2-time NCAA champ, 3-time finalist, and only lost twice at the NCAA Wrestling Championship. He was one of the very, very few who can be counted amongst that group. He's a 4-time Big 12 champ and went on to have one of the all-time careers for the Cowboys. So, Johnny, thanks for joining us here for the podcast. I'm excited to talk to you.
Well, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed listening, so I'm glad to be on finally.
For sure. It's definitely been a little bit overdue. So apologies for taking a couple of years to get to you. But
we talked about it. We talked about it in the summertime. Just didn't happen during the season. So
yeah,
glad to be here.
For sure. We're gonna talk through really your come up in the sport. I'd really like to learn, growing up in Oklahoma City, hotbed for the sport. So I'm sure you knew people who were around it and all of that stuff, but how did you get into wrestling and what drew you into the sport to begin with?
Well, it started off with my father. He was a wrestler in Putnam City schools, also graduated from Putnam City West. He wrestled junior high and high school. And I have an older brother. His name's Chuck. He's graduated 2 years ahead of me. So he's about 2.5 years older than me. And he started at 5 and I just wanted to be like him. And so I started at 5 when I could. I was 36 pounds, Division I, smallest guy in the gym, and just ready to go out and play and have fun and do what my older brother was doing. So
at what point in your youth did you realize wrestling was more than just something that you're having fun doing what your older brother was doing, kind of keeping up with the family tradition?
Well, it was probably about 3rd grade that I started realizing I had a little potential, some of the physical attributes. But I mean, there was guys that were winning state championships every year, winning the, Tulsa Nationals, USJOC tournaments every year. There was always those guys. And I was happy to place at regionals and make it to state. Didn't place at state, kids state until my 8th grade year. But yeah, I think 3rd grade, I started trying a little bit harder. And then probably 5th or 6th grade, whenever it started realizing that I had some potential and I could be a little better in the sport.
Amazing. So coming up into high school, then, you're competing, you're making the state tournament, you're performing pretty well. When did Oklahoma State enter the picture, and when did you realize that you could compete at that level?
Well, that kind of happened last minute. I mean, I didn't get many accolades in high school. I was a 3-time finalist in high school. I got 2nd twice in high school state. I lost to Skylar Holman twice in the state finals. Former Cowboy All-American teammate of mine who passed away. So he beat me twice in the state finals. My junior year, we were both undefeated, met up in the state finals, and he beat me, I think, 11-1, tossed me on my head. He was really good, and then he went off to North Carolina. And so my senior year, not even a state champ, I wasn't getting the door beaten down by any colleges recruiting me or anything. So, you probably don't know this, but people who know me, I was an OU fan my entire life. My grandparents had OU football season tickets and we went to games, and Went to OU wrestling camps in high school. So they knew I was on the radar as an in-state guy they maybe could get for books or whatever. So they were recruiting me my senior year, and I was talking with them. Went and watched a couple college matches that year. And then I had an undefeated senior season. And then I went on to the high school national championship in Pittsburgh. And I got third place at that. And that was the first time I spoke with John Smith, I believe. I had lost in the quarters or the semifinals, and I was, in the hallway crying and mad, ready to throw my headgear. And he comes up and he said something to me, I think, good match or something. I'm like, I didn't think so. But that was the first time I talked to Coach Smith, and then ended up getting recruited also by Missouri. So that was the one visit that I took. It was a good visit, and I basically all but verbally committed with them. OU offered me books. I had a relationship with Jack Spates, and I thought they were going to offer me a scholarship, but they said you can walk on and earn a scholarship if you want. And I was like, okay. Well, they knew I was an in-state guy and a fan and everything, and growing up being an OU guy. So that was that. And then on to Missouri, and they offered me a scholarship. And then I believe it was my high school wrestling coach got in contact with John Smith and said he's about to sign with Missouri. You're about to let a good guy go. And John Smith set up a meeting with me and my father, and we went up to the, it wasn't really the wrestling office then. That was 1999 when there was a transition between the old wrestling room to the barn and now into the new wrestling room. So we went into some offices off of 6th Street and met with him, and about a 45-minute later, and we get in the car and look at each other, and it's like, I'm going to be a Cowboy. So it was kind of last minute. I mean, graduating my senior year, lots of things happened, and it worked out.
So you step into the room in Stillwater, and is a last minute thing, like you just said. You're kind of in this position where what's going to happen in my career, and what was it about that time that one made you pick Oklahoma State and Coach Smith? I mean, that you have all the pedigree and stuff like that. You're looking at Missouri, which also would have been a solid choice, right? But you make that decision. You come into Stillwater. You have to adjust quickly. What was it that kind of made all that happen?
Well, I was never really a very big student of the sport. I didn't follow all the colleges back then. I mean, the access, there was no, they weren't on TV. You'd have to read the papers and all that. And I knew who the guys were, and I knew who John Smith was, and Pat Smith and Mark Branch and Eric Guerrero, all those guys, Teague Moore, I'd heard their names. And people told me when I was going through the decision-making process, they're like, a lot of guys go there and, never make it. You might not get a chance. You're just a one-time state champ. They're getting 4-time state champs and, freestyle national champs, the best recruits in the country coming in there. And I said, I'm going to do it. I want to do it. I mean, wrestling, I believe is, about believing in yourself and a lot of confidence. And with the minimal accolades I had, I was proud of them, and I felt I could achieve more. So I went ahead and did it. And staying in state was also a decision. And going and wrestling for John Smith, everybody growing up in Oklahoma in the 90s is like, yeah, he's the pinnacle of the sport. And to go be around him and to learn from him, he can make me the best. And so I went into it with an open mind, with little expectations. I didn't really know what college was going to be like. I didn't really know what the college wrestling room was going to be like. And I went for it. And it was strange just with the transition, being in a barn outside of town with mats in it and weights and a kind of portable showers set up, and walked in, and I was like, oh, this is cool. We're wrestling in a barn out here in the middle of the country. And so it was like, all right, first day of practice, it's like I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight for my life. And I had a lot of guys there that were that were very good, that punished me my freshman year, but I just learned to fight, and then was a sponge, just learned as much as I could, absorbed as much as I could from these guys.
Well, in 2000, yeah, you would have had Eric Guerrero, and Teague Moore was still there, and Matt Brown. You had all these guys who were All-Americans around your weight. Going from a position where you won a state championship, where you were probably the top guy in your room, to Stillwater, Hardell Moore's told us his story. Everybody pretty much has said the same thing, where you go from being the top dog to getting humbled pretty quickly. When did you set your mindset to, well, yeah, okay, this is an opportunity for me to learn. I'm not just getting my butt kicked. I'm going to go become a great wrestler.
Well, that was always the goal, and I had confidence in myself. And I mean, I had a great group of guys around me. I came in with Tyrone Lewis, Willie Grunwald, who ended up being an All-American, Cody Stites, and then some Oklahoma guys that I kind of knew, and guys above me. Shane Roller had just gotten there the year before, and I think I said Matt Brown. So there's some guys there from Oklahoma, and we had a bunch of guys transferring, and it was just an odd time, and I felt like I went in and competed well. Yes, I did have to wrestle Jamil Kelly and Charles Walker almost daily, which was a struggle, and trying to get my strength up to where I could compete with those guys, and I was very behind on skill level. But no, I just went in and competed every day, and there were days I went and sat in the corner and held my head down and was upset that I couldn't do better against these guys, and that just motivated me more to try harder every day. And you'd have Pat Smith come up, say, keep your head up, just keep going, you can do it. And I remember at one point I told Eric Guerrero, I said, I'm going to be a national champion in the barn there, and he kind of looked at me and he's like, all right, that's good. And yeah, I was just a young kid. I believed in myself. I was confident. It's like, I'm going to do this. And that's kind of how it started.
So let's keep talking about mentality here and the way that you approached your style. All right. You were great in the fundamentals. You didn't necessarily have anything that just stood out as a innovative or special thing, but you just enforced this will upon your opponents that you were going to win the positions and you were going to put them in places where they didn't want to be, which is how you got the ability to perform the assassin at the level that you did, the ability to pin guys at the level that you did, the pace that you wrestled with. Where did that come from? Was it just the repeated tasks in the room? Was it something that you just kind of clicked with your style?
I mean, with my style, yes. I think in high school, there was a time whenever I was mainly defensive wrestler, and there was a tournament where I got beat and I couldn't get a takedown to win the match. And I walked off the mat. It was OU Open, actually, first round. And that's a big tournament back in the day. And I was a junior in high school, and there was a lot of really good guys there. Lost that first match when went and talked to my dad, which I didn't give him a shout out. He was my elementary school coach and junior high coach. He was there the whole time. And my high school coach, Todd Glasgow, who also passed away this year in February, he helped get the NOC up and running again up there in Tonkawa. But yeah, so I had guys supporting me through junior high and high school. But anyway, so this tournament I lost, and I was like, I don't have a shot. I don't have a go-to shot. What? I'm never going to be good I'm never going to win. I'm never going to do it all. And so I basically next match and basically the next, I think it was around 10 matches I wrestled that weekend, 9 matches in a row. It's just just set up and go, shot. And that's kind of where I developed the double leg that I hit. And it was just like, I'm just gonna go for it. Take shot, set up, go, blast through them, tackle them, easiest way I know how. And so that's kind of where I developed my offense from, was just moving forward, attacking the guy, looking for a shot, get to a leg, and make him wrestle with me. Because like you mentioned, I felt like I could wrestle in a lot of positions, and but it was just that one thing that I lacked was go-to offense. And so that was my goal for my whole junior year, was to develop offense. And my senior year, I had a move, which always helps with your offense, the snake or the assassin, as you call it. I called it the pancake in elementary school and junior high, till I learned about Thomas Landrum, who was famous for the snake. So anyway, had a move, developed offense. And I mean, I just was out there, and mentality wise, my mentality was I was going into a fight. I am going to fight this guy, and he's trying to take this win from me. I want to win the tournament. I got to beat this guy, and it's going to be a fight. And it might not be pretty, but I'm going to give every bit of effort I have and go out here and attack and win and win the match, win the tournament, and do what I want to do.
So you redshirt your first year on campus there, and go undefeated in open competition, have a solid redshirt year. Then 2001 comes around. You're in a very competitive room at a very competitive weight. When did you get the call that you were going to be the guy?
Charles Walker beat me, fifth-year senior, beat me in the first ranking match of the season. Ponca City High School, I believe. We wrestled in an open tournament in Tulsa. I believe these facts. This is 20 years ago. So I think I beat him in an open tournament. The next time we wrestled, he went on. Our first match was, I believe it was the Ford Center back then. Our first match of the season was OSU versus Iowa. Eric Juergens was the 133-pound returning national champ from Iowa, and Charles Walker beat him. So number one ranked guy, Charles Walker, he beats me, senior. He's the starter for 133, and he goes out and beats the returning national champ Eric Juergens. I believe these facts to be true. So, like I said, if I'm incorrect, anybody call me out, fact check me. I'm okay with that. And so he was the starter. We ranked one more time in the room, and I beat him. And these were all one takedown, 1 point matches, 2-3. I mean, it was or overtime. I mean, it was extremely close. And Christmas break, nothing. After, or I guess it was before Christmas break. So I got to go on the West Coast trip. We went and wrestled Cal Poly and Fresno State, and we went to the Reno tournament. So I got called up. That was my first college trip. First time to, go see what it's like on the road. Probably my third plane flight in my life. And I got to hang out with these guys and be a part of the squad. I ended up wrestling at Fresno State and Cal Poly, won both of those matches at 133. Charles might have wrestled at 141 in those matches. Didn't really know what the coach's idea was, and went on and wrestled in the Reno tournament. And then, though it was still kind of up in the air after that. And then I went to national duels, and I got to wrestle 133 and wrestled some tough guys there in January, and had some success. And we were sitting down at the hotel waiting to head to the airport, and coach called me down to the lobby, and all the coaches were there, and they said, I think we're going to move forward with you at 133 for the rest of the season. So that was in State College, Penn State, I believe. Wow.
So you then go on to take second at the NCAA tournament that year. And obviously you won the Big 12 tournament. You had a great run, and there was obviously expectations and pressure with where the program was at this time, especially, that had to have been there. How'd you kind of put that out of mind and just go out and perform at the level that you performed at?
Well, I think that was something that, with growing up from my dad, the way we looked at wrestling and focusing, and we didn't like the word pressure. Pressure kind of sounds negative. Don't like the word nervous. We're feeling, intensity. We're ready to go. We're fired up. So we're ready to go fight. That kind of language. But with the program and everything going on, I was just a kid that was on the team, and I was looking at these guys. I mean, Daniel Cormier, Reggie Wright. I mean, some really good wrestlers that were there leading the way that year. And I was just, I got to do my job. I got to do my part. I got to wrestle my best, and the team will take care of itself. And so that's what I did. I focused. I turned inward, did everything I could to give myself a chance to win, and went after it.
So with that, then, I mean, you then go on to win a national championship in the next 2 years. Coming from where you came from, I mean, I think that there's a lot of people who want to push forward and think that you have to be ranked a certain place, or you have to have done these certain things in high school, and you have to have a certain pedigree to go win a national title, right? But you kind of threw that on its head and went out and just, did great things without any big accolades or anything really behind you that could show that you were going to perform at that level. What was it that kind of put you up there? You mentioned earlier believing in yourself, and we've seen this happen time and time again. This year we had 2 guys that nobody believed in them, and they went and won national champions for Oklahoma State, right? Championships for Oklahoma State. But what was it that gave you that belief? I mean, you've been saying, look, like, I just believed it, but if you could kind of peel back a little bit and help me understand really, where does that come from? I mean, who are you surrounding yourself with? What is it that is kind of just putting you in that place to perform at this level?
It's you can be the best, and you are the best. And I don't like the term brainwash, but I mean, you can say your inner speech, inner dialogue. That's big in sports. I had that. I told myself that, and told myself that before every match, before every tournament, for years and years. So I did believe it. I talked myself into believing that I can be the best, and that if I work hard, and I was surrounded by greatness when I got to OSU. Another thing is I was 17 when I graduated high school, and I was just a young, undeveloped guy at that point, and maybe haven't, even gotten close to peaking. That was my dad's goal, and that's kind of what I talk about with kids today. It's, hey, you need to get better every year. Just improve every year. Some guys are going to go backwards. You get better every year. You get better every match. You get better every tournament. Learn from your mistakes. Those things. You keep on that trajectory. You go up, 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 and up, and you will hopefully achieve your goals. So, yeah, that's kind of what me and my dad talked about, starting in junior high and high school, and getting to OSU, and he's not around anymore. And then I see John Smith, and I hear the way he speaks, and it's like, I talk to myself that way. And all these guys around me, Eric Guerrero, 3-time national champ. I mean, Mark Branch, Pat Smith. I mean, these guys were great. And the guys I was competing with, I mean, great workout partners, the ones that pushed me and beat me up. And then the guys that, I competed with, my friends, and it just kind of happened.
And that's what I would like to talk about next, is that atmosphere, having all those guys around you that became your friends, that, we just asked about surrounding yourself with them, but how, I guess, shaping that internal dialogue with your father instilled that in you. You kept it going, the natural, I think that's what separates really successful people from folks who kind of get stuck or get in their own way, is that your inner voice just doesn't, it tells you the opposite of what it should be telling you. And ultimately, it becomes with surrounding yourself with the right folks who are going to help you improve and believe in yourself. Was that atmosphere at OSU just the thing that really pushed you over the edge and got you to that place where, like, heck, I'm good enough. I'm here. I'm in the best room in the country and probably in the world, and I can be as good as anybody in the country or anybody in the world.
And it was probably a perfect storm just with the environment. And like I said, I went to OU football games and I was on OU campus quite a bit. And I get to OSU and it's like, wow, this is like home. This is perfect. I mean, I get along with everybody. I like the people here. The coaches, besides the country music. I mean, that wasn't really my thing, but but no, I mean, it just fit. It was a perfect fit. Like I said, I came in with a bunch of young guys and some Oklahoma guys and made really good friends right off the bat. And the coaches were right there with me and it clicked. And so that environment, I think, kids go to college and they don't feel right. They don't have friends. They don't have a support group, things like that. And it doesn't work out. But that's another thing that plays into, my success is that I went there and it was perfect. Didn't really have any issues with anything. School was good. The team was good. Coaches were good. I, got chances to compete and I learned and developed.
It's pretty amazing how timing and preparation really gets you to great places, doesn't it? You were there during some pretty great music years, so I'm sorry to hear that country music didn't get you. I think there were some pretty good Oklahoma rock bands that were coming out of Stillwater at that time, though. So you probably got some good ones.
Yes, yeah. The country music, the cowboy boots, all that wasn't really my style. So, but I could deal with it
for sure. So, looking back on the back half of your career at Oklahoma State, you won a national championship as a junior with a target on your back. Talk us through that season and coming through the Big 12, the dual season, the Big 12, and then the national tournament, being the top guy, having an opportunity to go win a second national title and continue to kind of establish yourself as that, great cowboy wrestler, kind of epitomizing the what it meant to step on the mat against somebody in an orange singlet. And as the team was chasing the big goal of winning a national title, which they ultimately did in 2023, or I'm sorry, 2003. What was that like as a competitor, especially in a sport like wrestling?
Well, that was the, the most you could ask for. That was awesome. I mean, that experience in Kansas City with the team, it was a tough season. Winning a national championship the first time isn't easy, but that next season with the target on your back, like you said, there's a lot more pressure on you. You're the number one guy most of the season. Actually wasn't. I lost to Ryan Lewis in the regular season that year as well. So, but trying to be a leader in the room, trying to work as hard as I can. And I had a bunch of great guys around me, and still, again, it's you take care of yourself, you win the matches you're supposed to win, and get through this season and win another national championship. And at this point, we're looking at team aspirations as well, and so it's looking for bonus points. And I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. And one of the greatest feelings I had was waiting for that national finals match as Jake Rushholt and I were at the hotel while the Constellations were going on at the gym on Saturday, and the guys come hooping and hollering through the hallway that we won, that we closed it out. So at least that took the pressure off me in the finals of having to worry about, hey, I got to win this or we're not going to win this. So that was nice. That was a good feeling whenever that was sewn up and I could just worry about myself and not have the pressure of having a team championship on my back, which but then after that, winning and Jake won, and we had a great tournament, and it was the start of something great there at Oklahoma State with winning 4 in a row.
Talk through that Ryan Lewis match then. I mean, you'd lost to him in the regular season. This guy pins his way to the semifinals at the NCAA tournament, and then majors Cliff Moore, who was the 2 seed, to get into the finals against you. You know, you had that, I'm sure, sitting around all day, thinking about it, trying to stay out of your own head, trying to just stay loose, rest, enjoy, keep your energy good. I know that has to be a daunting day for any competitor. But thinking about it through that lens where he's the only guy who's beaten you. He's obviously a great competitor and he's on a good run. How'd you go into that match?
I believe consistency was another thing. I prepared for every match the same way. So consistency, I didn't get too hyped up in the moment. I'd been there before. That was my 3rd national finals match. So it wasn't like when I was a freshman and my whole face was tingling. And, I was like, I'm walking out on the biggest stage in the world. I'd been there. I knew my preparation was there. I'd done everything I needed to do. I just hadn't put all the pieces there to beat this guy consistently in my career. And you got to go out and you got to score takedowns. You got to get off bottom. You got to wrestle in all situations. So that's basically what you got to do. And be ready for a fight. I mean, that guy, he was a beast. I mean, he was tough. He was really tough. And we wrestled 4 times, went 2-2. And that's, the one that counts is the national finals.
You got the 2 that counts, and both of your championships there were over that guy. But he got you. I guess it was in the regular season in 2001 as well, or 2002. Yes. Wow. So that's
in Gallagher-Iba.
Yeah, that's a. I think it's a special thing that you were able to kind of get one over him then in the NCAA finals like that. I mean, that takes a special, like you said, consistency and just kind of blocking out the extra or the situation really. If you're coaching somebody today, how do you help them get in that space where they're, and this probably has to take years, right? Of mental training and just trying to be in that spot where you're like, it's just a match. I'm just going to go out and wrestle how I know how to wrestle and be confident in who I am as a wrestler. But if you have somebody that you're maybe as a freshman in high school and you're trying to help them get to that place, what are you telling them?
Well, I would never say this is just another match. I would say you need to understand that this is the greatest match. I mean, this is everything you wanted to do right here. You have the opportunity in front of you. My dad used to say that to me in big situations. This is the biggest match you've ever wrestled. And not to make me scared it's like, you have an opportunity here. You get excited. This is great. And so just, that's what I would let someone know. It's like, this is your opportunity to do everything you wanted to achieve. It's right here in front of you. All you got to do is go out and wrestle for 7 minutes. You've done the training. You've done all the preparation you can do. It's time to let it fly and get the W.
So can we talk about 2004 a little bit?
Sure.
And you lose in the quarterfinals. This is the first time in 3 years that you've lost at the NCAA tournament. Second time ever. And you fall down to the blood round. What was going through your mind there when that happened?
Well, I wasn't very happy about it. Devastated, obviously. And, I don't even, I think I know who I wrestled in that match. I think I know what the score was. I'm not 100% sure. It was a tough match and it was close and I gutted it out and won. And you're still in that I just lost my chance to achieve my goals fog. And that's a turning point in someone's tournament at the NCAA's. Are you going to overcome it, or are you going to go out and it happens to a lot of guys in that round. I mean, it's tough, and it was a difficult situation. And I went out and I wrestled and I got the win. And I think after that next match, I put that aside and I was like, okay, I'm done. I can't. I think it was Friday. Friday was kind of foggy. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but after Friday, it was like, okay, I slept, made weight, don't have to make weight again, and I was able to wrestle better in the next day to come. But those matches were tough. You gotta find something to wrestle for, and luckily I had a team that was ready to win another national championship, and everything I did would help my team, and I had an opportunity to go pick up points wrestling 4 more matches, 5 more matches. And that was the motivation, and trying to not be selfish and go win another national championship as a team.
Yeah. I mean, you accounted for another, 14 points there. So, widen the gap between Oklahoma State and Iowa in the team race. And especially in a year where Oklahoma State, yes, won it by 41.5 points, but only had I guess this might be how Penn State fans felt this year, where you dominated the tournament, but you only had one champion. So it's kind of a like, man, what the heck happened there? So, champagne problems that I think Oklahoma State fans 20 years post fact forget that we had that back then. But that's it definitely takes a lot of guts to go do that, and especially in your senior year. And I guess once that was over and you were finished competing at the college level, what was next? I mean, how did wrestling shape who you would become beyond that kind of pinnacle there?
Well, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I knew continuing competing was an option, and trying to coach in college. And I got an education degree, so I could go on and coach high school wrestling, be a teacher. And so I hung around in Stillwater and talked with coach and everyone around. It's like, all right, well, let's give this a shot. I didn't wrestle a lot of freestyle in high school. I wrestled some tournaments. I wrestled a little bit in college, but didn't go through the whole season every year. Didn't compete in the U.S. Open. Didn't try to make world teams, anything like that. So I always needed a little step back after wrestling season to collect my thoughts, and I put so much into it and needed a break, and that's not really the case these days. People are going year round, and that's how it is. But back then, that's what got me through. And anyway, so I decided to compete, and it was a struggle getting down to weight again. And then I competed in the U.S. Open and World Trials, and didn't make the world team. And after that, it was I don't think I want to wrestle anymore. And so after that, I stayed on with Oklahoma State for 3 years after I graduated college, and then moved on into I interviewed for some high school wrestling positions, didn't get them in state, and applied for a job with what I'm doing currently, and just got a job. I've never had a real job before. I'd worked odd jobs in the summer. I mean, when you're a college wrestler back then, you can't even get a job. It's so I'd done camps and things like that, but never had a real job. So another thing that played into that decision is I wanted to get married and start a family, and I knew being a college wrestling coach and traveling or a competitor, you're going to be traveling the world and the country all the time. I knew what the lifestyle was like. I was doing it for 8 years as a cowboy. And so so I was like, I think I'm going to get a job, and got a job. And so been doing this ever since. But after going from being a competitor for so long and then going into the workforce, it's tough. You gotta find things to exert your energy in. You gotta find things that motivate you in different ways. It's not going out and beating guys up at practice and competing, but you got to take that out somewhere. So yeah, I think I went out and I competed hard at my job. I think I've done pretty well, and I'm in sales. So being a competitor is something that is definitely something that helps you. Being hungry, aggressive, all those things that kind of, you utilize on the wrestling mat is also getting you by at your job as well. But no, that's pretty much it. That's what I've been doing, raising a family and working since then.
Classic sales guy story. I don't really know how I got there. It just kind of ended up in sales. And so when you think about the person you are today, I mean, how much does that credit back to wrestling? What core values did it instill in you?
Composure, intensity, confidence, believing in yourself. All those things were, a couple things that I wrote down after reading your questions. I think those are the things that you learn and develop over time in a wrestling career. I look back to that, like I said, kind of a perfect storm, that place and time where OSU Cowboys were able to achieve some greatness there over a long period of time. And the people that were there that competed beside you, that worked out beside you. I mean, guys like Ryan Roberts and Cody Stites, two of my really good friends in college, and they were there pushing me every day. And these guys are still around the program today. Cody lives there in Stillwater. Ryan Roberts is around there, and those guys, that wrestling family, and then just also the legacy of Oklahoma State with being a part of not only in our little time frame, but the whole history of the sport and the greatness of the people involved. It's really impacted my life and been a huge thing for me. My kids come to matches. I mean, we get up there as much as we can. But yeah, and always being a part of that tradition and that excellence, it really, I feel like I carry it around with me in everything I do. Not really a story I told you earlier, but when I first went to open tournaments as a true freshman in college, and I put on an OSU, it was black singlet with orange OSU on it, one of the 90s singlets. And I mean, just walking around the gym, I knew I was working out with better workout partners than everybody, but then just people looking at me like, that guy's wearing OSU on his shirt. It's like, it just kind of lifts you up and gives you the confidence that you need. And that's tradition.
That's a really interesting confidence in having that. I think that's something that is important to remember for Oklahoma State fans, is that, look, it is a it is a brand that carries a ton of weight when you go around wrestling circles anywhere in the world. I mean, you see people wearing Wrestling Pete sweatshirts in gyms in Dagestan, right? So um, it's a brand that carries something, and being able to be somebody. This year they crowned their 16th four-time All-American in program history, and you're one of those, and you're one of those people who elevated to a place in the story. And I know you don't want to toot your own horn, but for me, I can do this as a fan, right? You're somebody who elevated the level of the program with, and I know you probably aren't going to take that on, or you're gonna push back on that, but it's at the time and at the place that y'all were in, you came out as somebody who was going to compete hard and dominate the guy you lined up against and go win championships. And you didn't necessarily have the name behind you. You didn't have the pedigree. You didn't have all the fancy coaches and cadet level or world success, right? You just wrestled hard and competed hard and developed into a guy that was going to, or that accomplished what you accomplished. And I think that takes a special person to be there, and a special environment to be there. And I think it's important for OSU fans to remember people like you and people like Eric Guerrero and Steven Schmidt and all those guys that you were around, right? Because you just kind of put the program on a really great trajectory there in the early 2000s. And I think you can point to today as being where, kind of getting to where it can be. I know it had a dip, and it's been a long time since we've won a title, but at the same time, like they're all standing on the shoulders of giants, right? And I think you're among that. And I'm rambling, and I apologize, but
That's good.
I just want to make sure we iterate, like, to Cowboy fans that may not know all the history, that guys, this is the expectation, and this is where we have been and will be. And I think that it takes a special person to really understand, like, I have this belief, and people can get there, right? And you've shown it, I guess, is the ultimate thing. Like, so for I don't know, for like an Ethan Teague is coming up, from Tuttle to Oklahoma State. He's won a couple state championships at 3A. He's got some freestyle skins on his wall. I think he beat D Lockett a couple years ago, and Cody Rutledge, and he's going to be in the room, and he's a guy that can go win. Right? If you're just in the right environment and you have the right mindset, anybody can do this. I think that's what I take out of these conversations, and what I've been kind of preaching, shouting into a void, I guess, for 5 years now, is like, anybody can do anything if they believe in themselves and they go out and just take it. And I appreciate that you told that story, that's how you got there. So thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about Cowboy wrestling, and it's super exciting what's going on right now. Super excited for the future of the sport, future of the team. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, well, it's definitely exciting times, and I think that we're talking the Tuesday after the U.S. Open, where they went out and put 4 guys into Final X, which is really, really big deal. And that's
Yes.
That means the room is where the room is exactly where you need it to be. And guys like Zahid Valencia, Joey McKenna aren't, they didn't wrestle for Oklahoma State, but they're able to put people in a position, put these young guys, especially at those middle weight classes and upper weight classes, in a position where where they're in the room like you were in, in 2001.
Yeah, it seems like it's quite a thing going on in the wrestling room up there. So
For sure.
I'm very proud of the direction we're going.
Well, Johnny, I know we're kind of at time here, but if you could leave listeners with one thing, one piece of advice, one takeaway from your time as a Cowboy wrestler, which isn't like you're part of it, right? But what would you like Cowboy fans to take away from this interview?
I'd say believe in the tradition and what's gone on before you and what you can achieve and what's gonna happen afterwards.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna tilt my camera up here because I don't know. This is usually on the calls. That sign back there.
Yeah.
Real big on it. It's just gotta believe in what you're doing. So awesome stuff, Johnny. Really appreciate you. Thanks for coming on, and go Pokes.
All right. Thanks a lot.